we start, we have a very good news that we are also celebrating. Many of you already know that one of the moms of Pearl, Rukmini, was awarded a Eden Prize today. So big congratulations to her and to the family as a whole. Those who are with your cameras, if you could wave to Rukmini, maybe she will feel something there, or just put a sign of congratulations to her. Very well done. We are proud of you, Rukmini, and we are happy to see that the work you do is recognized all over the world. Thank you for supporting this family and to making us audible outside. This is the second family meeting. The first one, we did have Herman from Nicaragua who presented a topic on genuine cooperation. And that was really very, very well taken by us. We did have a very hot discussion and reflection. And we are happy to have today Baela from Pakistan, who is suggesting a very, very interesting topic, bringing the tribes together for learning. And it's a new concept, it's a new way of looking at that. And we look forward to have your topic today, Baela. But before that, we want to say that our family also today increased more. Our first meeting was basically with PAL leaders, but today we have included more people from our members, program managers, facilitators from L2 projects, other staff members in new programs. So we are trying to expand this space for reflection to include more voices, to include more visions, to also increase our network. I'm very, very happy to have all of you today. And without taking much time, I would like to invite Baela to guide us in our discussion today. And once again, Baela, thank you for accepting the challenge to host this meeting today. Over to you.
Thank you, Armando. And once again, a huge congratulations to the entire Pratham family across India and beyond, globally, and to the PAL Network family, because today, if we are going to talk about tribes, then I think our tribal matriarch has made us so proud globally, and it's such a great feeling to be trying to attempt something which should be dedicated to Rukmini today. So congratulations, and I wish we would celebrate with a huge song and dance quickly somewhere when we meet in person. So Armando started me on this, and I said something about the tribes, and he said, this was with the conversation we were having about bringing the tribes together. And he said, why can't we have a hangout session on bringing the tribes together? I don't know how it will go. And I need everybody's help in this, because I think already Felipe and everyone who's been testing different things out, and also looking at more experimental and innovative ways on storytelling, and learning through different platforms. You have a lot of experience. So help me, please, and let us see how this all goes. But I want to share that at the ACFIAT conference keynote, I did acknowledge the PAL network hugely. And this, I think the Hangout is also partially inspired by that. And so next, please. Usman is helping me with the next, please, right? So the idea was, how can we continue to come together and share, or more importantly, as we are developing more learning products, how can we craft them as public goods, as we've already done for the whole global community? So it is with that thought in mind, and knowing full well that I think where we all come from, there is a lot of rich heritage, living heritage, from which much can be done in a very simple way. Next, please. And when
Ma'am, I
Rukmini
just,
joins,
yeah,
when Rukmini joins, we will just pause.
ma'am, actually, ma'am, Rukmani has just joined.
Oh, Rukmini, where are you?
I'm just
Let's have
stopping
a
the screen share so we can see her.
hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Rukmini. Woo! I think we should do a song and a dance or something. Woo! Congratulations. You made our
you are
day.
all allowed to unmute.
And you're sitting in Patna. What are you eating?
I'm in Patna, and there is a whole household going on around me. But I thought we should, I don't know what to do, because Bihar is a dry state. So all I can say is, cheers to all of us.
Cheers.
Congratulations.
Cheers and congratulations.
So we need a victory speech from you. Come on.
No. I have to tell you a funny story. I came to Patna, and the team had gone to get a cake. So they got this cake, and then on the cake they had some writing. And so the cake shop guy said, "What is this? Usually cakes are for happy birthday or happy marriage or something like that. What is this that you're writing?" So they explained. And I think they got a discount because the Pratham DNA is very strong, that you must save money wherever you go. So anyway, but it's I feel very happy because yesterday, Bela, I mean, some of you were on that call. What's his name?
Financial
Yeah.
And
Yes, what the Jaime said and what Goretti said, I thought we were very well represented, our point of view and our work and everything. So I hope all of this helps in that.
I've been quietly celebrating for a few days, but everybody came to know today, and we are just absolutely delighted. Can't wait to celebrate in person.
Hello.
Tariq is here celebrating.
Hello, Rukmini. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Tariq Jamil.
Oh, hello. Wait, I have to
The
find you on the
mascot.
screen.
My dear lady, missing you. How are you?
Congratulations.
Tariq bhai, where are you? We can't have a celebration without you.
Firstly, heartiest congratulations. My heartiest
Thank you.
congratulations.
It is for all of us. We are a very large family, and so it belongs to everyone. I have interrupted your meeting.
No, I'm in fact, I'm very glad, I could greet you. I haven't seen you for ages. It's been years since we met.
So, Rukmini, they put me to work. And I was complaining that now the tribal elders need to relax and the young ones need to work. So I hope this will turn soon. And we'll see many more hangouts with the younger ones.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm trying to do here, but I'll try my best. And later on, maybe you can pitch in as well. So we won't make you work today. Enjoy yourself, enjoy Patna, and really huge congratulations. Badhayu to everyone, to Madhav and everyone. Take care.
Meanwhile, there's a plumber going to fix something in the bathroom. So I'm going to go take a look at it.
Okay.
Bye. Lovely to meet all of you.
How grounded can you become, plumber and all? Okay. Okay, bye, Rukmini. Okay, Usman. So the story begins with that was wonderful. So the whole idea of we keep calling this the organic movement of citizens, and across really diverse geographies. And I acknowledged in my address at the Akfiat that this is a congregation of unique post-colonial tribes, by and large, a lot of post-colonial tribes who are in search of learning accountability for action. I think it's wonderful to see that we value cultural and linguistic diversity in the way we've come together, but also how we keep in the work that we do. They may look very simple on the front, whether it's the assessment tools or the learning solutions, but as Willi and Rukmini have always said, they're very rigorous at the back end, and Suman says, and they have really stood the test of global validations and more to come. Next, please. And so we'll move fast. But the idea is that, next, please. That in the 15 countries, we are trying to come up with a common code of practice, creating that common ground. And it is our ground that we are creating from these very huge amount of diversity, but always in search of, okay, what is it that we can share, which resonates across every culture and society from wherever we are coming. And the South-South network definitely is influencing the world. And yesterday, again, when I was hearing Goretti, Rukmini, it was wonderful to see. And we have been so many of us have been active in the past year or so globally. So it's good to know that. But what more can we do? Look at our population that we represent, with 5 out of 9 high population countries also in this network. So let's feel really proud of that of the fact that, we represent such a huge number of people. Of course, not proud of the fact that we produce too many people. We need to do something about that fast. Next, please. So, yes, please move forward. Next one. So even in this COVID, we tried to create the value addition on which we were working, the ICANN tool, and we all know about it. And again, the fact that it was mapped on to the global proficiency framework, and then we've been trying hard to ensure that it matches to the data quality standards framework. These have not been very small wins. They have come with a lot of effort, not easy to, and Armando knows it, and Sarah Ruto knew it well, and Suman knows it, and all of us. It's not easy to coordinate, but imagine 11 languages, 13 countries, and we move forward with the next tool as well. And we know that the one image is the tool, the assessment tools, but really the other reverse side is the learning tools, the learning solutions that we are all working towards. Next, please. And we've seen this both, again, I presented that if we looked at the Karnataka data and the Pakistan data, just from the 16 districts that we covered across 4 provinces in Pakistan, we've seen learning tumbling, especially for grade 3. And that means we have got a huge amount of challenges with so many Amans and Amnas who are suffering. Next, please. So in this pandemic, and we've been looking at the pandemic in terms of our responses, whether they be from the assessment to the action side on the foundational literacy and numeracy, to people like Azizi and others who've been working on life skills and second chance debit. And by the way, I do want to raise this issue of this binary of the non-cognitive, cognitive. And I don't know really how comfortable we all are when we know that so much of our work and the work we are doing really makes us understand that it's very important for children and their families and caregivers and teachers to, think from their minds, but also their hearts and souls. And the non-cognitive more and more is showing that it's the life skills or the non-cognitive triggers really transform well into cognitive gains. This is the evaluations from some of our work done recently, which shows that. So I think we need to also unpack that and try to show that, in fact, this is really an artificial divide. And of course, the innovations on inclusion and the ed tech work that has been going on in so many countries and so many of our of the work that is going on across the PAL network family. Always conscious that we are not just doing things without accountability, and how to influence systems for impact. Next, please. So so this is where one needs a conversation. Is it just a figment of my imagination that we are tribes coming together? And how do you all feel? And we'll pause here for a bit. When we talk about tribes coming together, does it mean a narrative for you? Does it symbolize in terms of any sketch or art form, poetry, anything? I'll just pause here for a little bit, maybe 2-3 minutes, and see if there are any responses altogether to this as we come to exploring new ways of learning and looking at what is common across, all our countries. So can I just pause and see if there are people dying to say something at this point, and then we can move forward? Usman, are you seeing any questions or?
Nothing in the chat. So please respond to the chat or unmute yourself. And if you want to say something, please feel free, everybody.
I mean, I've been speaking a lot, but if there is someone who wants to, this whole, even the what we are using as the tribes coming together, does that evoke any image, any narrative, any conversation that you'd like to say anything about? Otherwise, we'll just move to the next 2-3 ones and then talk a little bit more. But please get yourselves ready to talk.
John is saying in the chat, he thinks about languages.
Okay. So he's...
Yeah. Can I
John,
speak?
like to say something?
Yes, and greetings to everyone. I feel that we have been quite conscious about language, but then I know that many of us here don't, the languages that we use to communicate here with each other are not even our our cultural languages. So I was just imagining in that room where each of us is coming with their language, probably something one has never heard, something that is used as a tool for learning for children somewhere in the world. And I know together we would represent many languages, maybe even 100 languages, and I think we have never explored that. And especially now, when there is also greater emphasis on first language and the role that first language plays in the introduction of reading and and literacy. So I'm just imagining in that room where I come with the 4 languages I speak that are not English and everyone else, and creating narratives around it, I think is something extremely rich in representing our worlds. Thank you.
I think that's fantastic, and that gives us a little bit more work to do. I think it means that this whole, and you know how much work is going on mother tongue, etc. And we are still at a very primitive stage of being able to become conscious of languages. And we are still selecting and choosing. And if we were to map out, just like we did a mapping of our influencers or influencing spheres, imagine if we did a mapping of our languages, and that would be so amazing. As John has said, it could be near to 100. And I think that in itself would be a great exercise. Maybe we can pick it up. And we've seen Armando speaking on songs in Makwa, translated into Kiswahili, etc. And so anybody else who wants to speak, but we can go to the next one. I think it becomes even more interesting, but I think that's the whole aspect that we're trying to build on in this conversation. And that is, you know, can we find such artifacts in our countries where we can build this common ground, again, for learning really to take place? And there could be artifacts, rhythm, music. I don't know, really, there could be so many. We were talking earlier, could be things we make with clay, shells, quilts. We'll talk about quilts a little bit later, but anybody wants to add any other list? Again, I'll take a pause as we move forward. I'm conscious of time, but I thought if anybody wants some, it's triggering something. We need to see what could be common. Cinema is saying something. Maybe if someone can.
United in diversity.
Okay, fantastic. So we need. So that aspect, yes, that united in diversity is so as powerful as was the earlier one on inclusion as well. Because I think this is something that would be fantastic, because we are now talking about, especially during COVID, on, of course, learning losses and how to mitigate them and what can be done from teaching at the right level. But you remember, teaching at the right level itself is so vivacious and lively, very disciplined and routine, but still draws a lot from songs and so on. But I think we need to be able to expand that craft that we already have, but what more can we do? And Ronajit is saying connecting children of every country would be a good idea. Wow. And I think that's fantastic. Imagine the people, the sort of the object or the beneficiaries coming together as children. And Raj is talking about postcards connecting children together. So I think again, we've been speaking about agency. We've been speaking a lot about, you know, simple things, you know, simplicity. But as we keep saying, that behind that simplicity, there's a lot of scientific logic and beyond that goes on. So I had this thought, next one, please. Next slide. So, you know, in Pakistan or in all over the world, I think I thought of this one common thread that runs by. This is the universal patchwork quilts. These are called release in Pakistan, and I'm sure they're called with different names. But imagine what comes together as a patchwork quilt. And how patchwork, I've been fascinated with patchwork quilts for the past 20 years for multidisciplinary learning and project-based learning. And we have tried something with them in maths and heritage as well. The next, please. And the idea is how these shapes and geometries can come together. And I use this also at that keynote, that each piece has a story to tell, a song to sing. Mostly women have been doing release in Pakistan, and they're from all over, but the ones that I have here are from Sindh and North Sindh in Pakistan, but they're all over. But imagine how you use this versatile craft for so many things. And so, other than, of course, from being everybody, when I mentioned this, many of our people, our colleagues working in different parts of Pakistan say, I got that as a bride in my trousseau. Of course, we've seen it, that is used as the beautiful mat for guests when they come. And Herman is saying something. And now people are marketing as crafts as well. But it's a great learning tool. We've used it a lot in our early childhood centers. But you can, at a more serious and more, at primary and secondary level, it can be for maths and arts, history and storytelling. And so the thought was, in the next slide, and will leave it at that and then get a lot of conversation going, I hope, that, imagine something like that. And if we were to do an exercise beyond today, even in your own context, it would be great to see how, even with this notion of a patchwork quilt, and it could take many forms in Mozambique to Kenya to Uganda to Mali to Senegal to Mexico to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. There could be many ways that a patchwork quilt comes together or patchwork come together. And how do we, if we were to do a whole piece on it, doesn't have to be that long, but it'd be great to see the images of something like that and how we can put it to use for some of our learning solutions. So, whether, and that's the kind of experiences. So this could be just one, but the idea is, how do these cognitive and non-cognitive ways of learning come together? And it's just fantastic the way we can produce something maybe like a meta-relay learning solutions. I mean, it could be at so many levels, so many cultures, across so many languages. And that sort of would be so exciting to see the PAL tribes tell their own relay stories for learning in their own contexts. But this is just one off. So I'll just stop here and see what could be your thoughts on having something substantive for all our communities to come together around an object of learning, which has withstood centuries in terms of time, in terms of its evolution and development. So, and something which is so versatile, as you can see, you can already see about 10, 12 different ways of using a relay, from very practical things like putting a baby on a swing. And I've seen that in so many villages when I grow, that, the baby is just, and the mother is working, but she's put the baby in this beautiful cloth, and while the baby, and just keeps on moving the baby so that at least she can get on with whatever she is doing, to, beautiful bride's trousseau piece, which is simple but so beautiful, and so much has gone into it, to, of course, as I said, a learning tool across disciplines and project-based learning. So I'll stop at that, and let's just hear your comments on, can we collect such a set of arts and crafts which can become a part of our learning, even for TAL or beyond? Or is it something just that I'm getting romantically inclined in, and really we don't need to think much? Edith is writing something, and if somebody can again translate, that would be wonderful. But this is fantastic. A didactic resource can be Mexican handicrafts to approach geometry, arithmetic, language, imagination, creativity. Mexican corridors recover history, promote communication. Wow. So definitely, Edith, this is fantastic. You know, and that's what I meant, that if any one of us can take leads and or collectively work on these kind of learning resources, it would be just really fabulous, because I think they're very evolved. But, you know, we haven't gone back. We haven't really looked at them in that sense. Edith, this is so resonates so much. It's really fantastic. Anyone else want to speak? Please take center stage. Herman? Herman spoke about earrings, necklaces, pebbles, and seeds in Nicaragua. Children from one country telling stories. This is in terms of the agency of the children. So connecting with volunteers who do the citizen-led assessments can help. And someone is speaking about games young children play, to see what games children play in different cultures, similar or different, and how they can be used to learn vocabulary, numbers, etc. Can we hear voices? Can we have people speak to this? And I would love to hear, other than notes, also possible comments to open a conversation. As I said, this is so open, but just cognizant of the fact that we are really a very rich group of people coming from so many different cultures, and where we could find objects of heritage and craft that could be so, or even activities, as someone says, games that children play. Suman, would you like to speak, or somebody like to speak? I just feel that it's terrible feeling that whilst on the chat box, we are having some discussion, but otherwise everybody is in silence.
Melody?
Yeah, this is ended. This, maybe you can take the PowerPoint off and we can just face each other. Usman? Thank you. G.
Melody, this is Said.
Hi, Said.
I was just thinking that when we went to Mexico, remember, they gave us some letter that the kids wrote in the school children. They wrote some letters. And when I brought that to give it to the children here, I think my daughter saw one and she was very excited and wanted to write back. But the letters also kind of looked very, you could look at the letter, and then the kids make these cards and everything that looks like it gives the feel of that area. If I get a card from Rajasthan, I would know that I'm getting a card from Rajasthan. So I was just thinking that the craft was like the kids writing something, but then also this decorating that letter or that piece of thing, and then we are exchanging. That was a very, very interesting thing. And I saw that how kids, particularly when my daughter saw it and the other kids saw it, they really wanted to respond. I never get back to it because I somehow missed the date address that who sent what, because that letter didn't, we couldn't identify that, whether I could actually send back to that the response to that person. But maybe we can actually also use a letter, the story that you mentioned, that the experience that you mentioned, but then again that letter itself can be the kids a decorative piece that also tells about that culture, about the aesthetics of that region. Just loudly thinking that maybe something we could do that like that.
Thank you, Said. I think it's a lovely insight. And I like also Felipe saying recipes, cooking activities, maths and stories, etc. But Raj is talking about ELTU to ECTU, and he can share the acronyms. But also Felipe saying every culture teaches us. That in itself is a great umbrella, what you said, journey in terms of, okay, how do we weave in that aspect as well? Because I think that's just so beautiful what we have already, but we are somewhere lost in translation because we are trying to standardize everything. But yes, would love to hear more. Thank you, Said. And I hope Armando, all our young people will be able to take all those notes down so that we have all those ideas that can be stacked, and maybe we could have a whole group of people who can book it. Maybe it should be something which the next set of fellows for PAL Network, by the way, we should revive the PAL Network fellows again and maybe give them this task at a serious level. But yes, please say that's great.
Should I jump in, Baila?
Yes, Armando, all yours.
Just wanted to say that the story Said told about the letters from Mexico. I still keep my letters with me. And every year I post on Facebook and I share the gratitude for those children. But it also reminds me that when we met in Senegal, the largest team suggested everyone to come with something special from their country. And I was wondering if in the future, and we hope this COVID will go away and we will still meet in person, if we could also share stories, letters, crafts, poems from children around our countries and make a huge exposition in our meetings, also bringing something live from our children to our conversation. I think that's also a way of highlighting not only the differences that make us more stronger, but the commonalities that we have.
I think that's such good ideas are coming out. And I think Fida is here, but we were trying to see, okay, even from a suggestion made here, it's just a suggestion, maybe even coming up with some new lesson plan ideas or learning ideas, our academic team can share with the larger PAL network too, but other ideas too can come together and we can create a kind of a whole basket of these unusual craft, and every culture teaches us learning tools. That would be wonderful, wonderful. Other ideas, other conversation? This was just a provocation to all of us to see what more can we do. Vida, are you speaking? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I think the concept of release can be great, not only in teaching but also in teaching like history of different cultures and how like they really concept of really started, how it traveled like through different like times and till now. And while like looking at the release, we can teach the concepts of geometry, for example, triangles, rectangles, squares, and then we can also like teach the measurement of those geometrical shapes. Along with that, we can also like teach fractions. Let me give you an example. Like when we teach children the concept of fraction, we usually say them that this is a shape and we have divided it into like 1/5 or 3/5, and then we ask them to add those fractions, but taking release into it will like actually tell them what is the concept behind it, like when we add, why we add, why we do not add when the denominators are same. Like this would tell them that these different fractions are part of like one same geometrical shape or one same image of fraction. So along with that, we can also like teach concepts of data and information handling to grade 1 and grade 2 students. Like there are rallies which have this column like different shapes on them. One column has like triangle type shapes and then the other has rectangle like shapes, and we can like ask them to count how many rectangles are there in this like line or column and how many rectangles are in this. So these are different concepts which we can teach them from geometry, from fractions, and then from data and information handling. We at ITA, along with our academic team, can make some of the lesson plans on it and can share with the PAL network team.
Great. Thank you, Vida. Thank you. More volunteers. Thank you, Vida. I need voices.
Sorry, Bella.
Felipe, lovely.
Yes, I just write in the chat, but I could
Yes.
say it aloud.
Yes.
That one ideas could be share histories of the same theme, no, in order to understand the diversity of the culture and the interesting that is how amazing is to create stories and to create diversity. No, for example, who received the control of the fire? No, in Pakistan maybe the story is very entertaining. Absolutely. And we can share with one theme. We can share 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 from PAL network and from inside of PAL, the countries and the diversity of behind PAL, the countries. No, we have a lot of diversity, for example, in Pakistan, in India, but in every countries we can a lot of diversity inside. Maybe we can share with 1 or 2 themes. We could share this and build this release. I like it a lot, the idea of release or meta release. No?
Meta release. I love it, Felipe. This is what it's like music to me. And I love this whole notion of the story of how humans were able to control fire. I think it's fabulous and was told from the goddesses. So yes, please. I think as I said, the torch must move on, and this is just a provocation. And Felipe and others who have contributed, maybe we can come up with something so beautifully articulated by Felipe just now, and try and work on this, really very tangibly, because I think it's like, for all those decades, we were told that kids cannot, when they're little, they cannot have abstract thinking. And we are now seeing them as bundles of abstract thinking. And I think we have to turn this whole business of the construction of knowledge and ideas and so on. But I think the fact that we are such a diverse and rich group of people and tribes, I'm sure we'll be able to produce a great knowledge bank, which is so rich in the way it is, it's framed, and the ideas that are coming. So that's great. Anybody else who wants to say something? Edith?
Sí, gracias. Yo escribí en el chat que lo que se me ocurre y proponía.
Thank you. I put in the chat what I was thinking. The runs in Mexico, which are a narrative of different situations that had been experienced in Mexico, which are situated in the time of the revolution, where each place, each community creates its own narratives as a deductive strategy that teaches to recover history, some history that can be sung or recited, and where we have other abilities, artistic abilities that can be expressed, or the handcraft of a tribe in Mexico, which will generate different skills that have to do, that improve artistic expression, language communication, reading and writing. Now, all these are elements or resources that we can use. And thinking, for example, about the culture in each country, they have songs which recover or contain their history. I was thinking about these resources that are more general. For example, in Mexico, I talked about the calibrisa, the corridos, which I also thought about the food. Mole, for example, is a food that is known in the whole country, and which implies the can help while describing the process of producing it, the proportions, the measures, to recover the species from which it is produced. Chocolate, for example, which mole has, bananas. All these are different elements from which we can take advantage to make children learn maths or reading or writing, and others, such as a way of recovering things culturally. Thank you.
This is so inspiring, Edith. This makes my day. Wow. These are such great ideas. And so as we're coming almost to the end of this conversation, we already got everybody's minds ticking, and ideas are pouring in. So I think we should continue with that, but also agree on, okay, maybe we should have a group of 2-3 people who want to put it together and embark on on something which is a great journey for learning authentically. I think this is authentic learning. I think so. And it would be wonderful if we can see how we can put it together seriously. You know, as I said, with all the complicated back end, but also the thrilling front end, I think, which is so important. And that's what's going to bring the agency of children and parents and communities forward. Otherwise, it'll be just lost. This is my feeling that, you know, it's all right to market things, but we don't want to lose it totally to the market and forget the authentic learning that all of this represents. I'm so delighted. Anybody else who wants to say, we've got a few minutes left. Anybody else who wants to come up with any suggestions? PAL Network's recipe book. Wow, Suman. Thank you. And there'll be a lot in that. Lots of ideas. I'm just so eternally grateful for this opportunity that we could get together. And as usual, Armando roped me into the Hangout. But I hope that this triggers something within the PAL network to yet another journey, which somehow is very coherent to the reason we've all got together. But I think will certainly bring more imagination and maybe more a richer discourse, you know, in the way we produce these learning tools, learning recipes, and whatnot. I just want to thank all of you and would like to maybe so handicrafts and photos, more ideas are coming. I'm hoping that we will have all the comments put together, translations as well, and then come up with an action plan. And I think we should go to the next stage of the action plan. I think something very exciting is going to happen. I want to end here myself and thank everyone, all 43 people who are here listening. And I'm sure we can share it with other members as well who couldn't join today. I know Zaida couldn't from the Tanzanian team, but thank you so much. Armando, over to you.
Thank you very much, Baela. I can't express in words how happy I am with all this discussion. And I would like to invite all of you to join me and greet Baela for this very inspiring conversation that she led. So please, wave and send emojis to her. And
thank you.
Today, Baela, you touched our hearts because our conversation was beyond what we always talk about, literacy and numeracy, but we talked about life, about our sentiments, about children, about things that can be made by them. So PAL Network is not, we are not just tools for advocacy. We are also people. We come from somewhere. We have a culture, a tradition, a language, and we also want to have a contribution to our cultures, our specificities, and we want to engage our children in all those activities. I'm 100% sure that from this list of ideas, we will come up with some action plans to follow. I'm also very happy, allow me to take 1 or 2 minutes more to see how the concept of genuine cooperation also links with this idea of bringing tribes together. So it can happen only when we recognize our diversity and we are willing to cooperate as equals. We are willing to cooperate, accepting the differences and learning from each other. I think that makes the spirit of our network and explains a lot why we are together here. We were celebrating Rukmani's prize today. And I noticed, I don't know if he's still there, but I noticed that Professor Abdul is in the meeting, and it has been a while that we didn't see him joining this family. So I'm really very happy to see you, Professor, and I hope you are still there. Receive our greetings, and to your team as well. We are very happy to see the family united again.
What an honor to have Professor here with us. And I'm sure he's got lots of ideas that will enrich this conversation. I hope some action from here. We definitely need Senegal, Mali. I know everybody, Senegal was there, but thank you, Professor. Thank you, Armando.
I don't know if his camera is on, but if you find him, our regards. The spirit of the Hangout meetings, as we said, is to come together to discuss our life, to discuss our aspirations, to exchange, to learn from each other. And I'm looking forward to the next volunteer to host our next meeting. You don't need to respond today. Just think, reflect on something that you can bring together, and we will be happy to sit with you, to learn with you, and to continue this learning trajectory together. I would like to thank you, Baela, for organizing the concept. I would like to thank also the entire PAL Network team for the support in organizing the venue, the virtual venue. I extend also the compliments to the interpreters and every one of you who joined this meeting. And I will not finish without making one remark. Today, we took almost 30 minutes talking together. It's a different model of Zoom meetings. Usually, we have a presenter who says whatever he has to say, and we have some chats going on, and we have less interaction. I think this was completely different. We did have interaction. We hear voices. We hear voices in Spanish, in French, in English. That's the beauty of coming together for a conversation. Thank you, all of you, for coming today. I really look forward for the next meeting. And don't forget, we have the conference coming ahead. We are planning a pre-conference section just to refine our ideas, and maybe that will be also an occasion to meet and invite your people, invite your contacts for the conference, and I'm looking forward to meeting you very soon. Asante sana, obrigado, gracias, merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being together and celebrating Rukmani today. Wonderful. Goodbye, everyone. Stay safe.
Everyone, thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Adiós, nos vemos, saludos.